The old days was you just got a job, and so you learned on the job. Nowadays, they actually, at 728 our local in Hollywood, you're actually required to take safety tests, get certified. So now it's even more sophisticated. So it's not proper going to a university or a trade center and getting a certification after 6 months of training. They'll basically train you on the job now and certify you to go up in a condor basket in a lift, or to go out and rig underwater, or all those things. Now you have to get certification. It was the Old West, literally, still, when I was working. Yeah, they set them up in regards with the producers to what will be mostly happening on any shoot. So somebody's running a hot air balloon, you're certified to handle a hot air balloon. It's kind of, an oxymoron in a sense, but it's a requirement because HR is involved. HR is involved in everything now. In the old days, it was like, HR, what's HR? Head helper, or, there wasn't really an HR system. You just use practical sense. It does sometimes, but in the old days, you used to get meal penalty. So if you went past your allowable break, you got paid a bonus for every half hour that you were in that penalty. So traditionally, in the old days, they would literally give you a meal ticket. So you could actually later, at your convenience, go to the commissary on the studio lot and trade it in for food. And then eventually it became cash. And then eventually it became ridiculous cash. So if you were going up in a lift, at night, you got a bonus of going up high. And if you were in meal penalty, you had meal penalty on top of it. And if you were going into overtime on a Sunday, that was Christmas Day, you were in plutonium time. I mean, it got kind of ridiculous, and a lot of people got really well paid. But sometimes it went a little bit too far. But that's what the system was set up to do, is to take care of them so it wasn't inconvenience. Then they took care of them because they were risking their life, so to speak. A lot of people don't like heights. And we didn't force people if they didn't want to go up high. But the idea was, you went up high, you're kind of doing a dangerous job, and so we'll give you a little bit of benefit for it. But some of the other stuff, the producers actually, I didn't understand why they would schedule a shoot on December 24th and expect, with the amount of work they had, to be done by Christmas morning, so they didn't go into a national holiday. And that's happened, where we worked 28 hours straight and went into Christmas Day. So my paycheck for one day was worth 3 weeks of work because somebody didn't plan our schedule. And that's frustrating, because then they start to complain about it's the union or the guy's fault. They made us work longer and they're charging us. It's bad planning. You build a house, you do a budget. You go over your budget, you approved it, it's your fault. Well, some of the penalties are gone, not so much in meal breaks because, health-wise, you really need to eat a certain amount of time. But I think there's a conscious effort by a lot of great producers and product managers and you probably can adhere to it here in this country and anywhere, right, where they really do care about the crew. So they're gonna have really good food available next to fresh fruit, as well as, candies. I think that was always there, but not necessarily always as prominent as today. Today, with HR involved, there's a requirement. But when you go into independent production with independent production companies outside the system, even if they're union signatory, I'm talking about stuff in the States. I don't know what the system is here, but it may be similar in some aspects. I think there's been a change. This kind of boutique environment grew out of small shoots. And the producers are aware of how to take care of the crew and really take care of them very well and pay them a reasonable amount of money. But on the other side of the page, there's a lot of crews that are just getting terrible pay because the people putting it together want to get it done for nothing. So is one thing that I feel I heard from a number of people when I grew up in the business is you create your own destiny as much as your reality. If you want to be able to have freedom to not work on a Saturday and Sunday because you want to go with your family, you need to judge how you work and pick when you want to work and save when you can save and all those things. It's just common sense. But it's really hard for some people when they make a lot of money not to go spend it. I mean, I'm even guilty of it sometimes. Luckily, my wife's not as crazy as I am with it. But the point is like if you know that you're working and you're making this great money and you're 23 years old, think about when you're going to flip those numbers and you're going to be 32. Are you going to be as busy? Are you going to be as popular? Had you saved anything you have? So we kind of make our own bed, so to speak. And I think that's important for people that are working in the business to remember.